Hola amigos, it's me Paul and my beautiful wife Daniela.
Hola everyone.
And today we're here in Bucerías, Nayarit, Mexico in Casa Limon, which is one of our vacation rental properties. And we're here today because we're giving away 5 nights at Casa Vista Belcara, which is another one of our vacation rental properties.
That one is in Nuevo Vallarta, which is pretty close to Bucerías.
That's right, yeah, it's Nuevo Vallarta or Nuevo Nayarit?
Both.
Both. We accept both answers,
yes.
Right? Yeah, so we're going to be doing that a little later in the video, so stick around to the end to see if your name gets drawn. All right, so many of you may have seen our latest video, which is our tour of property in Cabo San Lucas called Monte Rosella? Rosella. Yes. I said Rosella.
Both answers are okay.
Both are okay, again.
Yes.
Okay, so Monte Rosella. And it was a beautiful property.
Yeah.
And we went there to tour that property because our friends Liz and Brandon are thinking about purchasing or investing in real estate here in Mexico. And we ended up in Cabo, which was pretty cool.
Yes, I appreciate it because I've never been. And it's pretty cool to see a new place.
For sure. So we did tour Monte Rosella, and it was a beautiful development. And the really cool thing is that they're giving away a furniture package valued at $24,000 US. So if you're interested in moving to Cabo or checking out that development, be sure to register for that furniture package. That's a no-brainer. That's a good deal, right?
Well, you put a link on the description,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can also sign up for that furniture package.
Yeah.
I know our friends Liz and Brandon also signed up for that, so why not, right? So go for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to invest, this is like one of the developments that is out for sale.
Yeah.
And like personally, I did got surprised, like pleasantly surprised that I found like the pricing was like on spot, I would say.
Yeah.
Is that how you say?
Yeah,
like a good balance between what you're getting and the price that they're giving.
Right.
And the location and all that. So I think it's worth taking a look.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think that just in general, I was pleasantly surprised with Cabo San Lucas and the whole Baja Sur Peninsula.
Yeah.
It was very pretty and a lot. I actually haven't been there since like 20 years ago. 20 or 30? Yeah, 20 years ago. And I went with some friends and we were in Todos Santos and it was just like very, very rustic. Actually, I was here, we're in Casa Limon, which was, Sachiko came with us on that trip.
Oh yeah, the owner.
The owner of this house.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's kind of funny
how. She joined you guys?
Yeah, she did. She showed up.
Yeah. But you guys were doing like spring break kind of trip?
Yeah, kind of a spring break trip.
Like misbehaving?
Yeah, but honestly, like it wasn't. The town was pretty dead when we got there, so there wasn't so much spring break to be happening. But we were having fun anyways.
Yeah. But Los Cabos is just a regular town, I'm assuming. Right?
Yes.
It's not. And then San Jose del Cabo, which is also basically together. It's also like more developed. So basically the whole area, obviously, because it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
But in general, it's just, to us, it looked like pretty clean, very well structured, I would say.
Right.
And I think the first thing that surprised us when we arrived was the weather.
Oh, yeah.
That was perfect. We went in May, right?
Yeah, it was in May.
And it was nice.
Yeah, the weather was super nice. It was like, I was expecting, because, you think we're going to the desert, it's going to be hot, right?
I thought, because they say it's dry, I thought it will feel hotter.
Yeah.
But no.
It wasn't. It was actually very nice.
Yeah, I guess the humidity does make it hotter, I guess. And
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's kind of, a lot of people actually do appreciate about that area. It doesn't have the humidity that a lot of coastal towns in Mexico have.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
Which, if you guys watch the video, that's actually what Will say, which I also find that I get it from clients here in Bucerías, which obviously you go places and if you want to invest, then you fall in love with the place and then you look there, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we all recommend.
Yeah.
And then we also say visit, maybe stay there for a few months and try it out, and then you kind of like, you're ready to purchase.
Right.
But he did say about like people are in love with, Riviera Maya or Puerto Vallarta, but then sometimes the humidity is just not for them after they try it out. And then that's when people are like, okay, Los Cabos is my place. So I do find that true, because I also had that comment from people too, like really liking it here, But for some reason, they're like thinking about it too many times, and it's because of that.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I'm like, people don't like that kind of weather, and then they're
They
like
prefer the
drawn
humidity,
here.
yeah.
So it's just different.
Well, and then plus, like, you know, there's a give and a take. Like in the desert, obviously you don't have so much of the tropical ambience that
Yes.
you have here, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, you have to
you don't have so
gauge.
much green, I would
Yeah.
say. And so actually, it's pretty funny. When we were in Cabo, we had another good recommendation from Will for an Italian restaurant. And my sister had actually already, or she just visited Cabo as well, coincidentally. And so she was like, "Oh, Paul, you guys got to go try this, you know, this restaurant." And it was the same one.
Yeah.
So Will and my sister said, "You guys should go to this place." It was called.
So we did.
We did, yeah. It was called Come a Casa.
Yes.
It was delicious. But as I was like thinking about it, I was like, Come a Casa. What does that mean? Because come means eat
In Spanish.
in Spanish. A means kind of like to,
Kind of.
sort of. Come
Yeah,
a, or yeah.
in the house.
Yeah. Come a casa. I think, yeah, eat in a house.
Yeah.
Eat in house.
Kind of like
And I was
that.
like, that's a weird, kind of a weird name for a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then if you're an English speaker, it just says come a casa. Come a
Yeah.
casa,
Come a casa.
which also sounds weird.
Sounds Japanese.
Yeah, come a casa. Right?
Which we are in an owner's Japanese house.
Yeah, in her casa. This is all coming together again. Yeah, but then Daniela corrected me. She's all, Paul, that's not Spanish. That's Italian. Yeah, she slapped me. Yeah.
I do slap though.
You
I
do. And Max got that from you, I think. Yeah, he's a slapper as
He's
well.
just a baby.
Yeah.
But I slap lovingly.
Yes, but it
If
all
I don't know
feels
you, I
the
won't
same.
slap you.
It all feels the same though.
No.
But yeah, so Daniela, let's hear the translation.
Well, we were in an Italian restaurant, so obviously it's in Italian. So it's as like it
not
actually
obvious.
means like at home. So
Yeah.
come a casa, come means like meaning as, you know, like how would you eat at home?
How you would eat at home.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It feels like home, but not the word feel.
Right.
So like at home.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and
I understand your confusion because come in Spanish is a different word.
So we had a pizza, and the pizza
Oh,
was
yeah, that's
delicious, right? And then I ordered a pasta, and it was amazing. It was super rich, super creamy, and it had, right now I'm forgetting what the meat inside of it. I guess it was steak, but it was delicious.
Yeah.
So just go to that restaurant if you're in Cabo. It's very good. And I was actually talking to the owners of the restaurant, the ones who started it. They actually started it during COVID-19 in 2020, and little by little, you know, they would go out and just basically do deliveries because nobody was going out to restaurants. And then since then they became very popular, and they just opened this restaurant. So it's still fairly new and already very popular. So
Yeah.
they're off to a good start.
Yeah. This is located in San Jose del Cabo actually, which is like 20-minute drive from Cabo San Lucas.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, we went to just take a walk.
Yeah, we went to the art walk, and it was just happened to be the art walk night, and it was awesome. There was a big mix of people there. I'd say like a lot of foreigners, but also a lot of nationals.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, a lot of kids were there because they were doing like a show with like a clown, and that was beautiful. Yeah,
Magician, I guess.
I think it was a clown.
See?
Yeah.
But he was in their shop.
He was, I don't know. I
was
guess he
doing
wasn't
stuff.
like a payaso, right? Like he
No.
wasn't a traditional payaso.
No.
He kind of was just like the Joker from Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of scared Max.
Yeah, Max
At some
didn't like him. That's right.
But not the
He
clown
cried.
side of it. It's more like because he did something that then he got scared.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like this show. And
So he
he's-
cried and then we move on.
yeah, yeah, we're like, that's it.
Yes.
So yeah, but I did find it beautiful. Like the beaches there are beautiful.
Yeah.
You get that turquoise water, like you do in like Cancun, and so
I didn't
that was
know
cool.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
That was surprising to me.
yeah. So
I guess I mean because I never been there, I didn't really research that much before, like what's going on there. But
Yeah.
I always knew it was famous and you know it's very popular in Mexico.
yeah,
But now we're seeing like after seeing it, now I kind of get the hype basically.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I even was telling Paul they use it for telenovelas or like all these famous shows and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, how come they don't come here or Mazatlan or, like many other beaches areas?
They should come to Bucerias.
They should.
Yeah.
But, now I get like, okay, it is a great location. So I understand now.
Yeah, I think too, it's also like you don't have to worry about the weather that much. It's like sunny there like year round. We also went on a little tour, right? You were mentioning how come, the telenovelas, they go out and then they go on the yacht and they visit the famous landmark there. That's like at they call it Land's End, right?
I don't know.
Land's End? That's what I was told.
Okay.
So it's like where the land literally ends, like at the tip of Baja.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end of that is the arco, the arch, right? The famous arch.
Yeah.
And so me and Daniela, we did go
You
and
want to tell
visit
them
the
about
arch.
it?
Yes. We almost got divorced. No, I'm just kidding.
There is a divorce beach there that they call it like
There
that,
is, actually
right?
there is, yeah.
How would that work?
Yeah, there was one side that was like for lovers and one side of the beach that was for divorce.
The divorce beach or something. But I think because the lover side was on the inside, so that was the Mar de Cortés, which is
it was
the
more
Cortés
calm.
Sea.
Yeah.
And then on the other side was because it was the Pacific, right?
Yeah. But I think it has something to do with like the beach on the Pacific side, because it's rough.
Yeah.
That's the side that's like for that you get divorced
The
on that
intensity.
beach, right? It's a little too rocky.
Yeah.
And then the other side, when things are tranquilo, when things are calm, that's where you fall in love.
But then Paul clinged on that. I don't know if that's the word.
Uh-huh.
But something happened, and then he was like, "Oh, are we gonna get divorced because of this?" And I'm like, "Come on, chill." But at the end, nothing bad happened.
Yeah, we're still together.
No, but tell them why.
Oh, okay. Because, well, I'm gonna put all the fault on myself first of all. Okay.
Okay.
But I was like, well, if we're gonna go out to this famous arch, I want to get some cool drone footage, right? And so I brought the drone, and we got in a little lancha, which is just like a little boat that takes you out there like a canoe,
It's
right?
super quick.
And yeah, it was a very quick trip, like 10 minutes from the marina to the arco. And so we got there, and I was like, all right, let me put the drone up. And I don't know why, I've flown drones, I've launched drones from boats before, but I just felt like, I guess because we're so casual and like comfortable, I just put it up. I didn't even instruct anybody like, hey, putting it up is easy. But taking it down and landing it on a boat, somebody actually has to like grab it.
Yeah.
And because I'm controlling it, the boat's moving, so somebody has to be brave and grab it while it's landing, because the boat was not big enough to land it on the actual boat. So I was like, okay, Daniela, you have to catch the drone. And I didn't even, instruct her on how to do it.
One of the boat guys say, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then he came over, and then I noticed he was all like nervous.
He didn't want to do it.
And then I asked him, oh, have you done it before? Because he offered.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, first time. And I'm like, oh, then no, don't worry, I'll do it. Because I didn't want to put that on him. Because I'm like, well, since something happens, it's not his fault. So
drone.
I'll do it. And then that's when I chime in. But I had never done it, or I've done it one time or something, but not
You've
really.
seen me do it a lot, but it's different on a boat too.
But we haven't practiced, basically.
Yeah. So at any rate, Daniela tried. She screamed and panicked as it got close, and I made me panic, like, oh no, what's happening? What are we gonna do? And and then finally the captain of the boat just ran over from the steering wheel, and he grabbed the drone out of the how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And then
he did good.
Thank God he did do that, because
Good.
I don't know what would happen if we would have ended up on the other side of that beach, right? No.
I mean, it was very, very nervous, or how do you say, a nervous moment for Paul.
Yeah.
And obviously I get stressed, but at the end of the day, the captain saved the day.
Yeah.
And we kissed. So that was our drama.
That was our big drama.
Yeah.
And then, we did have another drama.
Yeah.
That was
our fault as well.
Yeah, more of our. I'll just put this on you because I took blame for the drone. No, we
That's
both.
when we're traveling, kind of like all of a sudden, and you don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I rented a car because we were gonna, obviously we're going to Cabo, and then after that we were going to go travel up north to Todos Santos, and then maybe do some day trips from there. And so I was like, oh, let's rent a car.
Which is actually recommended, that if you do go there to rent a car, it's pretty easy drive.
Yeah.
And then the places are pretty close to each other, like an hour away here, an hour and a half there, or maybe 3 hours or so, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So, and then you do see different things, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I recommend renting a car when you go to Cabo.
Yeah.
And then also, so our driver's licenses mine was completely expired. And you know, I have a Nayarit driver's license. It was, I think, 3 days expired, which was pretty lame and just a bad coincidence, I guess. And then Daniela's was expired like the next day or something like that, right?
2 more days.
It had 2 more days and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so luckily I did buy the protection, so we didn't have to spend too much on the rental. I still had to pay like $50 or something.
Well, basically you cancel it.
I canceled it.
So that we can do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and they were being weird. I didn't like that rental company.
Well, the drama there was that when he got there, he obviously purchased online, got a deal, and then when he got there, they
tried
told
to
him,
upsell
oh, but
me and-
in this deal it doesn't include insurance, and then he said, but I do have this protection, and like, yeah, but that doesn't work with us, and they tried to sell us another insurance.
It was
so
a scam.
basically, it was like, that's why it was so cheap, obviously.
Yeah, I got the cheap one, but
and
then
at
we
the
ended
end of all of that drama, we're like,
we
oh,
couldn't even rent it.
yeah, because our IDs were expiring. We're like, okay.
We were like having this argument with this lady about our insurance. She's like, you guys don't even have driver's licenses.
Yeah.
So get out of here. So we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing Ubers for the rest of the trip, which was fine.
Yeah.
In Cabo San Lucas, the Uber was perfect. There's a lot of people driving Uber there. That seems to be the main source of transportation for people who are visiting. And then we did end up going to Todos Santos, and there we stayed in an Airbnb, and we're actually going to give you guys a little tour of our Airbnb right now. Today we're here in the Baja California, right?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Baja California Sur.
That's right. Okay, and more specifically, we're here in Todos Santos, which is a beautiful little town. It's a pueblo mágico. And Daniela, what is a pueblo mágico for the people that don't know?
This is a specifically more touristic, taken care of town, and it's a insignia from the government that the town gets for like doing certain things to keep it townish. Basically.
Yeah, they preserve the colonial look a lot of times in pueblo mágicos. So basically, if you know it's a historic town, they don't turn it all into condos and skyscrapers, right?
It depends of each town has its history, basically.
Right, but this condo we got it for or I guess it's a house, for our Airbnb. It's pretty awesome. So we thought we'd give you a little tour.
Yeah, vámonos. Right off the bat, it's cute.
Yes.
But then you're also blocking my view.
Oh, sorry.
There's actually ocean view.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so right away you have this beautiful ocean view. You know, there's palm trees and you know, being here in the desert, you might think, well, how come there's all this vegetation? Why is there this greenery at all? And it's because there's actually a bunch of natural springs just below the surface here in Todos Santos, where all the water comes from. So it's a little bit of a desert oasis.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
That is a Spanish and English word, right?
See,
oasis.
No, but it's written the same way, but we say oasis.
Oasis.
But it is the same written way.
Okay, well, I was kind of right, I guess. All right, yeah, and so we're in the kitchen.
Yes, the kitchen, which, you know, lately we've been seeing a lot of this cement. And then...
Yeah, like that polished
but
concrete.
it has good size of like cabinets. I mean, it's a good size for a 2-bedroom. And I really like, you know, like I said, the decoration, like they have this hanging for the wine and
Yeah.
So that's cute.
Yeah, and just so people know, we did max proof the house just a while ago, so that's why there's some of the decorations up there.
Our baby's 1 year and a half, so we immediately got our hands on things, so nothing.
So you can't break
broken.
anything.
Okay. So the living room, it's an L couch. You could take a nap right there.
This looks like a nap spot, and that's kind of what we're going for on this trip, right?
Hope so.
Besides doing this video and kind of doing some other stuff along the way, we're gonna be chilling.
Yes.
Yeah. Something else that I really like is this dining room table. It's got this kind of a turquoise color to the wood, and with the bench seating here, and then it has this shark up here, and the coasters are even like ocean, right? So the theme to me feels like ocean and danger with the shark.
That's a pretty good sized pool.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, you know, I've been in 2 bedrooms and they're just usually like a plunge pool, but this one feels bigger.
This is pretty deep. I don't know exactly how deep it is, but I can get in there and not have to like squat down, you know? Yeah, and then down there you have a little fire pit. And so there's Max and our friend Monse, who works with us at Beach Life Properties. She came on the trip to help us take care of Max. The weather right now, I just checked, and in Fahrenheit it's 78 degrees, and in Celsius 26.
26 Celsius.
Yeah, so
That's nice.
super, it's perfect. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then there's this other little area here where Max and Monse are. There's a barbecue and a little outdoor dining area. All right, so here we are back in the house.
There is one middle bathroom here.
Yeah, like a common bathroom.
They're all kind of similar, but I really like them. They're actually like, you know, I love this stone
oh yeah, it's cool.
sink.
Uh-huh.
And then it's just like the decoration is very simple, but like you said, you can just fill it with the doors that they're cute. Or like wood and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's kind of like rustic, nice.
Now we're going to the master bedroom.
Right.
Which it has its own bathroom, shower, and then the bed, I think it's a queen size.
Yeah, it looks like a queen.
Yeah. And then it has a great view, like that.
Yeah.
And
Kind of a corner view with the full sliding glass windows going on here. Pretty awesome.
okay, as a first impression, it's just like everything looks like it has a lot of detail put into it. So that's nice to enjoy, because you're in a rental place and you're thinking, oh, the owners want us to enjoy your stay, you know?
Yes.
Not just like having the amenities, but also looking nice.
For sure.
So,
yeah, it's well decorated.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
That's why, like, from the outside, when I said it doesn't look super like impressive as far as the size goes, but then you see when you're in here, it's like, oh, this is actually pretty good space.
Yeah, bathroom again, good size. And then we have the bedroom, second bedroom.
Yeah. So this is, to me, seems like where the kids go.
Yes, because it has this bed, which I would think is maybe a queen size, sorry, or double, not sure. And on the bottom, there's another one.
Oh yeah, there's a little pull-out bed there, and then the single. Yeah.
But this one also has a nice view.
Yeah, you have ocean view in both bedrooms, so that's nice. All right, so that's the tour of this beautiful home here in Todos Santos, and we're gonna put the link to this home in the description of this video. That way you can rent it when you come visit Todos Santos.
Yeah.
All right, for now, we're gonna go get some tacos or whatever we can find in town, and show you guys a little more of our adventures here in Todos Santos.
Okay.
All right, so welcome back from that tour of our Airbnb in Todos Santos. I'll put the link of that in the description below for you guys if you're interested. But that was a cool spot. Yeah, very relaxing vacation there. But back to like the transportation issue, we ended up renting a car because our friend Monse, who also works with us here at Beach Life Properties, she rented it. So we were able to.
Her ID worked.
Yeah,
so.
she has her driver's license. She's not a screwball like us, right? So yeah, we were able to rent a car in Todos Santos, which, like we just said, you should do that when you visit, because in Todos Santos in particular, there's like no options for public transportation. It seemed like it was very limited.
Mostly taxis,
but then it was super expensive. Like we were at our Airbnb.
Like 10 minutes away from downtown?
It would be like driving from here to like Mega, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they were like, oh, that's 1,000 pesos or something.
No, it was 500 pesos.
500 pesos.
Yeah. Which is like, I guess,
There
I don't
and
know
back
if it
goes
was
1,000.
Yeah, it was like a, I guess, touristic pricing or something. I don't know what's going on, but it was expensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it was like that, but I was like, oh, this is not
I
good.
mean, our Airbnb was not right in the middle of town. It was like a little outside, but outside means 10-minute drive.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
I mean, a lot of people
So-
stay where we were staying,
Yeah,
or even further.
Because it is like very relaxing, you know, like
Yeah,
the view and everything was very nice.
yeah. So that's a tip. I would definitely rent a car if you're going there. And just rent one at the regular price. Don't pick the one that's like, oh, it's $20 a day. Because then they just try to scam you.
Yeah.
I tried, because it did work once for me.
Yeah.
That's my issue, because I'm like, one time I got away with it.
That's when you're hopeful, right?
Yeah.
Because I also, one time I bought how do you call a bus drive in Europe for $1.
A
and
ticket?
it was like an 8-hour drive or something. Yeah, ticket.
For $1?
Sorry, for €1.
Oh, €1.
€1 per
That's a good
person.
deal.
And that
Were you
was
like back in with like the chickens and
No, exactly. That was like, what's going on? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, when I got there, I was like, maybe it's just for local, right? Or I don't know. But then
Yeah.
I showed my passport and everything worked, and we were like 8 people in total in the bus.
Uh-huh.
And it was just because it was a new line, a new bus line.
Okay, yeah.
And it was German, and it was perfect, like all new and blah blah blah.
They just
so it
wanted
was great.
some people to get on their bus.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
So that's why I'm like, you never know.
Sometimes it works out, right?
Yeah. Well, but on our trip, we did end up renting it, and that's when we went to La Paz, which
That's
is also
right.
a great city. That
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't visit the whole city a lot, but we did go downtown. We see like the Malecon area, like the beach area,
Yeah.
and then we got to go to Balandra, which is a very famous beach here. Well, I believe they let you in like at 8 a.m. Like 400 people or 300
I think it was
or
like
something.
450.
You gotta put it there because you had it on the
Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
And then at noon, the second round. So the people will stay there only like a few hours, and then they leave, and then the next people can come in.
Right.
And then there is also a little hiking. You can go up the hill. just
Yeah,
to
we
kinda
hiked
see
up to that
everything.
hill. That was
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, like the water there is like, it's amazing. It's like,
Pristine.
yeah, it was beautiful. And just like Max was in the water,
Yeah.
and he was like just loving it.
Loving
I've
it,
never
yeah.
seen him do, kind of just like just chilling, right?
He was doing what we should have been doing, like relaxing and enjoying and like
Yeah.
not caring about the world.
Yeah.
He was having a good time.
He was like like Zen, like he was just in the water like this, and he was totally happy.
Like
Like I
belly
looked over
down.
at him because I laid down next to him, and he just like looked over at me and he was just smiling and laughing, like he was just loving it.
Super
So,
cute, yeah.
really cool to
Yeah,
see
he put
him.
his belly down a few times, and he was just
Yeah.
like. But basically, I would describe it like a huge chapoteadero.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
It's a huge apoteadero.
Chapoteadero.
That's right,
Because
chapoteadero.
like, you know, the level of the water was like very tiny, and then you walk in, but you walk in like a mile more, I don't know how much,
Oh yeah.
and the water still was like by your knees.
Yes,
and
by
like,
your, I'd say the highest, I walked like maybe a quarter mile out, and it was about waist high, and I saw people even further, and they're still the same.
Basically, and it was surrounded by mountains, so basically you can go to the other one probably just walking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
There was actually quite a few people there that were from like San Diego. Like they drove there for the like, I don't know,
Like a
like a
weekend
little
trip.
weekend getaway.
Yeah,
So that was interesting to see.
yeah.
And yeah, it was a cool spot.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if I lived in San Diego, I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to go all the way to Cancun to get that experience,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, the color is very nice. The water is super calm. I would say it's very family friendly.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I was like, oh, it's good that they have this is when you're parking and waiting to go in. It wasn't that long for us, at least.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, because it sounds to me weird that, oh, you're going to the beach and you have to stand in line. But it's if it keeps it clean, that's a good way to do it,
Yeah.
right? And then they sold us drinks and food. So
Yeah,
and then
while
they even
you're-
rented us
While you're
umbrellas
in
and stuff.
while you're in line to get in, they
Yeah.
just come by and they're like, "Do you want to rent an umbrella? Do you want some
Yeah.
food?" And so you just kind of pack up on those things.
In
and-
case you're not prepared like us, but
Yeah.
obviously get prepared.
Yeah, right. And then and you could be prepared. What I recommend doing is packing up some burgers from Todos Santos because they have one of the best burgers I've ever had. Go to Burger Shack. If you're in Todos Santos, that was delicious. I was like, man, this is really good burger.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of an In-N-Out burger, but I would say even just a little more delicious. And then, so we went like, because we got recommended. Will, our from Tao, who showed us the property in Monte Rosella. He's like, you guys are going to Todos Santos. You got to go to get a burger from Burger Shack.
Yeah. Everything he recommended for food was delicious.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we went there, and I got that for lunch, and I was like, we all loved it. And then it got late. We ended up renting that van, you know, and it was getting close to dinner time, and I just started driving that van back to Burger Shack without telling anyone. And I ordered.
But Monse noticed that she's good with directions. She's like, "Are we going back to that place?"
Are we going back to Burger Shack?
Yes, round 2.
Yeah. So I did like a double burger day, which I don't think I've ever done. Like where you go to a restaurant for lunch and then you go back for dinner.
No, but to your point, we did have to figure out dinner, so it's good that
I was
you
like,
got it.
I'm not gonna. I want another burger.
Yeah.
So
we got something else, but I get it.
Yeah. So go to that restaurant if you're.
Twice.
Yeah. Go to that restaurant for lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed. On the way back from Balandra, we stopped in La Paz and just kind of spent the afternoon in La Paz, and it was a beautiful little town. I was surprised at how nice it was too.
Well, it was clean, and then the area looked kind of like maybe colonial.
Yeah.
Like the construction and like how it looked. And nice.
It had
the
kind
street
of like an artsy vibe to it too, right?
It kind of reminded me of Mazatlan a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the downtown area of Mazatlan.
Yeah.
But then here, we were particularly in a street where there's a lot of dining as well. So obviously there was some restaurants around. And we had a great dinner as well that time.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was a fancy restaurant that people also recommended, and it was great.
Yeah.
But you know, fancy comparing to here, it's doable.
Yeah.
And then we went back, right?
Yeah.
That same day. So it was a day trip. From Todos Santos to La Paz, we visited the beach, and then we came back.
Right. Yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad we did because that Balandra beach was well worth it.
Yeah. Max loved it. So
pretty cool. But we are here back in Bucerias, and I'm happy to be back because I've been traveling quite a bit lately. We went on that trip, and then I went to Las Vegas to do some work, and so Daniela's been holding down the fort for our family for the last week or so.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of catching our breath right now. We got a lot of things going on. But Daniela is actually becoming a certified real estate agent. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, right? But, but yeah, so she's been busy doing classes for that.
Very busy.
Now let me ask you this, because in Mexico you can be a real estate agent without having that certification.
Yes.
But
at the moment,
right?
Yeah.
But how does that? What's the difference? I guess like if somebody were to like just work with a random person off the street versus someone who's actually part of that group.
I would say the big two difference that I've noticed so far is one, the education, because then you are more literally you take courses and many courses, so that does make it like you're more educated. Because you know you can sell something and you can be educated on that particular product.
Yeah.
But then on the overall and for like to be in many other products, then it's better to just take courses and then make it an actual career. And then the other part is because in my case here in this area, you can join AMPI, which is an organization that in there, once you join and you're part of it, then you're part of a program which is called MLS. Which a lot of you guys have heard about that one. It's basically when you put properties up in the system, but that means that whichever property is up there, it has been qualified. So, you know, if it's not there, it doesn't mean that they don't work, but at the same time, the ones that are there, you are double sure that they are everything is in order.
Yeah, it's kind of a reassurance that it's more legit, right?
Yeah, which you can also find on the side. But you know, in this case, if you do find it on the site and not there, it's because you have to be the one being careful with, is everything in order? And then you have to double check.
Okay.
In this case, that's what your agent will do for you.
Okay.
You know?
So, and then I guess like, you just passed the big test, right?
Yes. Well, my first course.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing other courses, but this one is like one of the. I took a intensive course. And I did the test for that, and I passed.
Yeah, good job.
And then I say we because I had the nanny taking care of Max, both helping me, so everybody helped me to pass.
Well, you passed, babe. Yeah.
And then the next one is this coming month of July. So I'm going to start the second intensive course.
Take a little break in between. That's nice.
Yes.
So what was your grade, do you know?
No, they just told me they passed.
I bet you got 100%.
No, I don't think so.
I think you did.
I mean, there were only a few questions, and they take like certain points. So if I'm wrong, it seems like low, you know.
Okay. Well,
But-
it's nice they tell you passed or not right
Yeah.
away, right?
At least I passed.
Yeah. Good job.
Yes.
What's cool is like Daniela's taking the course, but like she's gonna then train me and train Bonse and
Yeah.
our team, basically to kind of help
Yes.
help you be like your assistant with everything, right?
Yes.
So yeah, pretty excited about that.
Same.
So if you're interested in selling your property, pretty soon Daniela can do it for you, right?
Yes, I passed the first course,
Yeah.
and then we're doing a few more, and then we'll be ready.
Very cool. All right, so now we're going to introduce a new segment called Misconceptions and Mispronunciations. And we started this over again because when we first did it, we got really confused, which is,
Take two.
take two. This is actually take 5, don't tell them. But we got a little confused with it because it's like, we're talking about how a lot of people, they visit here and they get confused about where Mexico actually is. They think that we're in a different continent. And then as we started discussing which continent we're in, I said, okay, Daniela, which continent is Mexico in? And you said it's in...
Like I answered America.
You answered America, and then that threw me off. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Yes, it's America for sure. Canada, US, Mexico, all of Central America, all of South America is all part of America.
Yeah.
But that's not what the continent to me is called. For my education. For my education, it's like we're in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a continent.
To me, that's like a region of
Right.
America.
Right. So I
So we
see
got
now
confused.
there is some, depending on where you're from, and we did look it up, and it said that depending on where your education comes from, if you're English spoken or you come from a Latin American country
Or European.
or European, wherever in the world, you get like a different definition of what makes a continent.
Yeah.
So how were you guys taught about continents?
Yes.
I'm interested to learn,
Yeah.
but we're asking that question because we do get some people who are confused even when they're in Mexico of what region of the world they're in, right? And so
That sounds weird to me because you just took the
Yeah.
airplane.
yeah,
But
exactly.
maybe you mean more like they get confused about particularities, right? What's cold, what's
Yeah,
winter,
like for instance, the last season, someone asked me, "Oh, Paul, how was your winter?" And I hadn't seen them since the last time they were here, which was in the spring. So between the spring and the fall,
There's no winter.
There's no winter here in Mexico. It's summer, and it does get hot. And I thought about it. I was like, well, maybe. I was just kind of confused when he asked me that.
Uh-huh.
But then afterwards, I was like, what's he talking about by winter? I mean, like, dude, you were here.
Winter's coming.
Yeah, winter's coming. And so I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, back in Canada, it's cold, And so when they come to Mexico, it's hot. And so when they get here, they're like, oh, it's summer. It's summer here
It feels like summer.
to them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not summer.
But it's actually our winter as well. It's
Yeah.
just not as cold as it is
Yes.
up north.
Yes.
So I think that's where some of that confusion comes in. But it's not like where you come to Mexico and then all of a sudden the seasons flip like
Yeah.
you were
In
you
Chile.
crossed the equator, right?
Yeah.
So no, like you're still in the northern hemisphere
Yes.
when you travel to Mexico,
Yeah.
and I would say you are still in North America. I hear that a lot. Like people are like, "Oh, we went to South America because you went to Mexico." It's like, no, you didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, you went to Mexico. You're
Yes.
still in North America.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's a big one.
Yes. So that's a
that I hear.
misconception.
That's a big geographical misconception.
Wow.
Know where you are when you come to Mexico.
That's the
right?
other thing. What happens when people like? There's a lot of like a little bit of a debate between Latin American people saying, when you guys say I'm American, in
Uh-huh.
particularly when you're from the United States,
Yeah.
and then Latin people might be like confused with that, and they're like, no, aren't you called like United States, whatever the name? You
Well,
could say?
how do you say that in
Yeah.
Spanish?
So we
Estadounidense,
say
right?
estadounidense, which is the name of your country, and you make it longer to make it your nationality.
Erense, yeah.
Yeah, Mexican.
Uh-huh.
So that's why we're like, what's your, how you call yourself? but you guys don't have something to call yourself.
Well, our issue is that our country is just named after America. So we say American because we're from America.
But
so,
the name of your country is actually longer.
But,
United States of America, and you just shorten your nationality.
Well, the official name of Mexico is the United States of Mexico.
Yeah.
And you just call yourself Mexican.
Yes.
Right? So I got you there, buddy. Yeah.
Anyways,
but then, you know, Canadians, you call yourself Canadian, right? That's easy. If the United States of America was called the United States of, you know, Panama, we would say, oh, we're Panamanian, right?
Panamanian. No, I don't know.
Panamanian, right?
Okay.
Like if Panama had a different name or something. But like we happen to just call it America, and so
that makes sense.
That's where there is some. Yes. I've even seen some people get really intense about that, like saying, "Hey, don't call yourself American because
I'm also American.
I'm American too." And it's like, well, what do we call ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, everybody else, like if you go to Europe or if you go to Australia, they always refer to people from the United States of America as the Americans. Like if they're like, oh, how, you know,
that's how you call, that's how you call yourself, so we call you like that. The thing is, basically the big confusion is that one. When people from Latin America consider that we live in America, meaning the continent, we also be called American, as if you were called to European people Europeans, not French, you know, like not Spanish.
Yeah.
But you call them European, and then how would they call us? But then in this case, we do get the extra distinction of being called Latin American.
Right.
So it's confusing.
Well, you speak Spanish,
America's
I guess that's it,
confusing.
Right? Yeah, it is all confusing. But I think that overall, I don't really care what you call me. You can call me a gringo, you call me a foreigner, you call me American.
They can call you pool.
Yeah, they call me pool, which brings up another mispronunciation, misconception, right? I've been called, because my name is Paul, but here in Mexico, that's not such a common name. And if you do pronounce my name in Spanish, it's Paul, right? Kind of like Raul, but Paul. And not too many people are named that here, right?
Maybe you haven't found them,
There's
but
like,
I know a few.
I think there's like you know a few?
Sí.
Is it me?
No.
The other people?
Sí.
All right.
Maybe you just haven't found one and you're like, oh, I don't know any other Paul.
Yeah, they're hiding out there from me or something. I've never met them. I've met Raúls, lots of Raúls, but not Pauls. And then when I do introduce myself, like to people here, they go, oh, okay, your name's Paul. Paul. Like they don't have a way to say Paul.
Yeah.
That Paul is like not a sound that Mexicans would make or Spanish speakers really make.
Maybe
right?
I even say it wrong. I don't know. Paul.
No, you do okay.
Normal.
That's pretty normal. But yeah, like for instance, I got a text message, like somebody shared my contact, or I saw where someone had written my name in their phone, a Mexican person, and they wrote Pol, like P-O-L.
Yes.
And then somebody else I saw, they just put pool, like P-O-O-L, like a swimming pool. But here in Bucerias, there's also another big mispronunciation of the name Bucerias, right?
Yeah.
And what are some that you've heard of, Daniela? What's one that you've heard of?
Well, usually I hear Bucherias.
Bucherias?
Yeah, because they kind of try to pronounce it too hard.
Uh-huh.
And then so they pronounce the C weird.
I think what they do is they throw like a little bit of an Italian flair to the name, like because in Italian you put the double C, becomes a ch.
Oh, just
right?
a C will be
just a C?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So like and then they just say, oh, it's Bucherias, and that's not correct.
What about you?
I've heard of Busarias, like almost like the word serious. They're like Buserias, and I always think to myself, are you serious right now? Right? Seriously? And but yeah, Buserias can be a tricky one for people to pronounce.
Yeah.
And then the other day, somebody added even an extra vowel, and they put a U, right? Buserios, like a Buserios.
Yeah.
And to me, when I read it, I thought that sounds like a dinosaur, some kind of species of dinosaur.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's one. We hear lots of different versions.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a different name given to Bucerias? Comment below with how you've heard it
Or
pronounced.
have you said it like that?
Have you ever said it like that? Do you want to switch to one of those versions now? Right? You like it better.
You know what? Even Puerto Vallarta, right?
Puerto Vallarta's, you could butcher that one pretty good.
Sí.
It's
But that one makes more sense because you are just
the double
pronouncing
L.
it in English.
Yeah,
So Puerto Val. I don't know how we pronounce it in English.
well, I hear Puerto, they take off the O and they switch that for an A, and then Vallarta, they pronounce the L's, so it becomes Puerta Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
And that one to me is always pretty cool to hear. And then the other one, sometimes people cannot quite pronounce Puerto Vallarta. They're trying, but they take off the L's, so they keep that silent.
Yeah.
But then they also take off the R at the end, so they say Puerto Vallarta.
Ah, okay.
They're
Like
trying, yeah, like they just get rid of the R. You have to keep the R there. Puerto Vallarta. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that one I think is less hard to say than bucerías,
Yeah.
but we can help you.
Yeah. And so another one is Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that one they put a lard in the middle of the
Because
word.
of the L's, right?
Yeah, Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that too. So if you're saying that, you're doing it wrong.
You're cool.
Yeah, you're cool.
You're doing it wrong, but you're cool.
I do like to say,
For trying.
like if we have to go to Puerto Vallarta, I say, let's go to Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, right?
It's just funny when you say quesadillas or quesadillas.
Quesadilla.
Yeah.
Quesadillas are good.
Okay, now let's do the good part.
Yes, let's give away the 5 nights at Casa Vista Belcara in Nuevo Vallarta, Nuevo Nayarit. And so I took all of the names from our list of everybody who entered the contest and from our members. So all the members got an extra 9 draws. So it's a good incentive to become a member. I think the lowest is like close to $2 a month. And then you can get 5 nights if you win. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. You might as well just become a member.
Well, the thing is also you're just helping us.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep the lights on here. But yeah, it's a good opportunity to win a 5-night vacation. And this time it is at Casa Vista Belcara. Let's get right to it. And the winner is Brenda Pearson. Congratulations, Brenda. You have 1 week to claim your prize. Email us at info@movingtomexi.co. And so another way to show our appreciation to our members is that we're going to give away either a coffee mug or a dinner with Daniela and I. We're going to take you out for tacos if you happen to be here in Bucerias. And so the winner of that was Dave Sinclair and Mark, I have it written right there, Mark Gonzalez. So congratulations. You have a 1 week to claim your prize as well. Send us an email, info@movingtomexi.co. So if you didn't win that prize, don't worry. We're going to open up a new prize for a new 5 nights here in Bucerias. This one is going to be at Casa Cantina. So Casa Cantina is right here in Bucerias. It's a 3-bedroom townhouse. It has a community pool. It has lots of beautiful garden space.
Yeah.
And just like an 8-minute walk from the beach,
very
right?
close.
Yeah, lots of restaurants, so you'll like it here. So if you are interested in winning that prize, enter the contest.
Okay, that was it for today. Thanks for watching. We love you guys and thanks for supporting us. Please hit that button. What is it called? Notification,
hit the
and
button.
subscription and all that stuff.
Hit all the buttons.
I always forget about that. But you know what to do.
Yes. So like, share, subscribe to the channel. De mi familia a la tuya, Dios te bendiga.
Adios.